Reality. Woo, 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 woo. As today we are winging the mystical life daily. It has been a rock'em sock'em roll'em up and down windy day here in Washington, D.C. The rain was a rocking and a rolling the neighborhoods, and that's why we're winging it the mystical life daily, because sometimes you just gotta go with what you got in the moment. And sometimes technology doesn't want to work, and other times it's moody and says it wants to work and doesn't work. So that's why we're winging it the mystical life daily today. Come on, everyone, chill out, relax. Let's take our first caller as we are winging it on the mystical life daily.
Okay, first caller is going to be Melissa Feast from Perth, Washington.
Melissa from Perth, Washington. We are having a winging it feedback. One second. So during these moments when we have technical gremlins appear, the best thing we can do is clear the frequency. I, in this ever-present moment of now, raise my internal and external frequencies to a new level of expression, to laser focus and identify the situation, place, and frequency of disharmony in this moment, to focus with laser eyes of complete and total rejection from this system, for it is causing chaos within this moment and a disunity factor. We are beings of awareness, and by choice of awareness, we use this laser focus of rejection of this chaos in this micro moment of now. For it is our authentic expression of this now, in this time, as this unity being, to say no. No with such force and such vigor, it rejects the microforms of chaos that are causing this moment of discertainty, misunity, distrust within the unity frequency, when in fact is just a technological error, a technological glitch set by a system to create distraction from the greater purpose of what? Us awakening to our greater purpose, to not be functioning within the global system, the global infrastructure of distraction, or the nature of misunderstanding. Well, did we have somebody there? Alrighty. So you're from Western Australia? So how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good today. It's like I said, it's a winging it the mystical life daily, as just little things here and there. It's one chord causing one issue for some reason. Okay, what year were you born? What's the first memory you have? You don't have any memories before that? You certain? So when I do people's galactic history, what I look at is the top of their scalp, right where the freshest DNA from the hair is coming out, and I compare that to what's in the spinal column. And there is a, which is a little bit older of DNA that's got a lot higher intensity behind it. And there is something in the hair DNA that's about first memories that is still affecting to you to this day, from the day of your birth.
Okay.
Do you know if your birth was traumatic to your mother?
Not that I've heard. I know that my dad wasn't there because he was away working.
What was he doing, kind of job?
He was a clerk in the courthouse. working in the country.
Okay. Anyways, as I'm looking back into your history, I'm going to go to the last lifetime that you were before you were you. And I've got a
Mhm.
span of like 380 years. So you really hadn't been born until 1680, 1690.
Yeah.
So you were not in around for the industrial era at all, the industrialization era. You stayed in the
Okay.
astral world, and you were acting as a guide and a guardian to other soul family lineages that were deep into the reincarnation system. So you were actually a crossover guide. So whenever a being would die or be born, they would contract a very powerful spirit that they knew through many lifetimes to be their escort between lights. And that was kind of like your specialty in service. And you did all of
Okay.
those years as that type of guide because you intentionally wanted to skip the main war years that were here because you had already done your war years at 1.5 million years ago. And
Mhm.
you didn't want to re-engage your war years. You wanted to make sure what it is that you were creating as a master soul, what was meant to be here. So from 1650 AD to like 250 BC is where you were
Yeah.
a master herbologist. That's the best way I
That
can
is
describe.
You mean like herbs?
Yeah, like
That is so great because I just wanted to become a herbalist.
yeah. So each lifetime we became specialized in different herbs, and then the cultivation of those herbs. And you were a part of a variety of mystery schools in Europe that were cultivating special plants that were legacies. Certain plants had potent medicines when planted in a certain era of light and not harvested until another era of light. But there was someone cultivating the original seed stock so that when it did harvest, it had great energies to it. And you were one of those people that discovered a variety of very potent plants that can give huge volumes of energies to those who know how to transmute it.
Okay.
What are you doing for a job now?
Well, actually, I'm not working because I've got kids in school,
Okay.
and
What have you done? What have you done before?
well, I have done a lot of office work, but as hobbies, I've dabbled in aromatherapy and flower essences, and done crystal courses. I started studying aromatherapy, but I didn't end up finishing that.
Okay.
But
Have you ever
I'm
heard?
really interested.
Have you ever heard of the term apothecary?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I would liken this term to you too. And if you're looking for a business for you to put your
Yep.
heart in, the term apothecary fits you more than herbalist.
Okay. Because when I see that word apothecary, I feel so drawn to it.
Yeah. And you can be the modern apothecary that can assist people, as well as beginning what I'll say a seed bank. So this is the other thing about the herbalist. It's knowing seed stock, how to harvest the plant, and to get extra harvests out of it by knowing what the plant needs at certain times of the years, whether it's an indoor or an outdoor grow. And beginning a seed bank where you make this a sacred seed bank where the vault is under the greatest prayers that you can create, and you begin trading seeds worldwide with other collectors of other stocks. And
Does it
that
have
can
to be herbs, or could it be
anything that's
vegetables?
seed. There are trees that are seeds. Everything you can hold is in a dry seed that can be held in a humidor and be planted at another time.
Because I do grow heirloom vegetables, And I find that the seeds are only good for a couple of years and then they don't germinate.
There are seeds that you can get that'll germinate up to 20 years later if you keep them in the special containers.
Yeah.
And they're natural
So
heirloom seeds. So there's a whole industry of people that were afraid the world was going to end in 2012, and they're called preppers. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
So one of the little sub-industries that came out of this was called seed packs, where they were trying to sell all natural non-GMO seeds, 20,000 seeds for $200.
Yeah.
You can still go online and get that same deal, 20,000 seeds for $200. And they will last 20 years if you keep them in those containers or you keep them refrigerated or whatever the instructions say. Okay? And you can create your own master seed bank, as well as using those seeds to trade with others. You'd be surprised the amount of seed traders that are all over the internet. All over. And if you can get a unique type of watermelon to grow in your environment and get seeds out of it, and other people want it, they're going to trade it for you. And it's something that can be very much have an unseen cash value behind it, because you are assisting those plants getting life processes.
Okay. So has the Apothecary got, I'm not totally sure what the term means, separate from herbalist. So is it something more than just seeds?
Yes, Apothecary is all sorts of plant and animal pieces, parts, and different states of preservation used for a variety of healing food processes, mostly for the healing herbs, combined in certain ways to create alchemical concoctions. Potions, oils, brews, alcohols, everything you can think of. That's the Apothecary's got it.
I make a lot of my own bath and body products like soaps and scrubs and things. So could that be a part of it, or is that sort of...
That would be a minor part of it. Unless you're going to start making your own Apothecary's bundle advanced bath care, that has, the high-end stuff inside it that really changes from the bath. There's basic bed and bath, and then there's, alchemical bed and bath, which is, totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a small part of the business, but it's really having the collection of materials that people want to consume and buy. So an apothecary's got to sell and be known that if you're trying to make some kind of alchemical concoction, that is the place to go to get actual unique materials.
And is this stuff that I would have to grow myself, or just
collect and buy and make as a stock?
So you mean buy from others?
Yes. Source it from others. And then whatever you can source for yourself is what you have no overhead on, correct?
And so would I need to do some studies to become competent in this?
So herbalism classes will be very beneficial for that. And then going and researching actual apothecaries if you have any in your area. I don't know about Australia. I do know in every major city in the United States, there's 5 to 10 apothecary shops, if not more. And some are culturally to Spanish, some are more to British, or some are more to whatever. And apothecaries, they carry, like I said, just about any. If you need it also depends on the theme of what the apothecary is, saving for.
Yeah. Okay.
So herbalism classes, as well as learning how to create your own variety of rare gardens so that you can source your own materials. So growing more variety indoors and outdoors. Beginning to learn about hydroponics and how
Yeah.
you can make your own little outdoor hydroponic system or indoor hydroponic system so you can grow year round.
Okay.
And then, be creative and go online and see what seeds you can buy from worldwide that you can get to propagate, that have some rarity to it, that aren't going to be destructive to your local environment.
hmm Okay, and so the apothecary side of things, does that have a healing
Yes. So,
aspect to it?
yes, an apothecary does hands-on healing as well as alchemical healing. You have to determine, are you one that uses the roots, the tubers type of healer, or are you an all energy healer, or do you combine the all of the concepts?
Okay. I have done a bit of hands-on healing, kinesiology before, but so I don't know if that's really for me.
Well, you've got to get yourself into a healing modality that's going to challenge you, first of all. Greatly challenge you. Is that the only healing modality you've done?
I've done crystals course, liquid crystals, and flower essences, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what might be a good idea for you to look into is quantum healing, quantum touch, Reiki 1 and 2, cranial sacral level 1 or 2, or going to learn myofascial release as its own separate course study. Those are going to challenge you. Myofascial release and cranial are some of the more tougher classes. Reiki and quantum healing, quantum touch are, not so hard to learn, but you do have to put your time into them to understand them.
Yeah, I did Reiki 1, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I would really look into myofascial release, and you can learn it as its own thing. You just have to put some time into knowing of the anatomy and physiology.
Yeah, I've done anatomy and physiology before.
Yeah.
I just have another question. Can you tell me if I absorb other people's emotions or feel other people's emotions more than the average person does?
Yes, you do, because you've got a suppression from your mother and father that has made your empathic system or your sympathetic side turn up the volume on what you're receiving from others. So a little amount becomes a lot from them. And you've been this way for so long, you don't know what the normal volume levels of empathy are.
So can I do something about this suppression to...
You got to understand what the damage between your mother and father was that you absorbed this distortion. So is it fair to say that your mother couldn't actually say what she thought in front of your father?
Oh, probably. She's quite submissive, and he was a typical, he was the type of man that liked things all done his way.
And what happened if it wasn't?
Well, it just was. I don't think.
So he ruled by fear.
I don't know. I was probably afraid of him. I don't know if she was.
This is where you have to see yourself as the young girl who in unawareness was picking up her mother's anxieties and her father's controlling energy.
Yeah.
And these are the most basic things you learned about reality. And healing those things are observing them in action, showing you as a woman how you feel suppressed and how male energies around you are controlling.
Yeah.
Okay? And then stopping those programs that are inside you from actually changing and affecting your life. So what I can recommend,
I feel like I've done.
What I can recommend is doing what's called telling your story to the fire.
I did that.
You did that? How did it turn out?
Oh, it was just awful. It was awful having to relive everything that I've been through. It was really traumatic.
And in the long run,
I don't know.
what did you learn?
I learned I had an awful life.
And what about the victories that got you through it?
Yeah.
Takes
Yeah,
a
there
lot of
weren't a lot
courage.
of them.
Takes a lot of courage to tell your story to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I did write down some of my victories in a little a process.
Well, I think you
So there
need to.
were.
I think you need to do it again. I think you need to tell your story to the fire, and it can't be awful this time. It's got to be revealing to you, showing you the healing that's at hand. I think for all the energy that you say is awful, you got such a massive amount of energy lifted off of you, though, just by
Okay.
doing it. And that might have been the awful part of it, that you had to say it all out loud to get the monkey off your back.
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
So if I do it again, do I say the same stuff again?
No, you
Of
got
what
to
I've been
come
through?
up with new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can. You got a whole lifetime of stories.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's all
Okay.
about what you focus on is what you're going to reflect upon. So maybe
Yeah.
this next time you focus on the victories that got you through and the lessons that you learned, the magics that you
Okay.
have done, the experiences that you have had, the dreams that you
Mm-hmm.
want to create.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. One other quick question. Last time I spoke to you in August, you said that my 13-year-old daughter was haunted as hell. And I've done some things, like you said, the saging, and I've done some revocations for her.
Uh-huh.
Can you see if there's any change in that?
What else have you done?
Um, I I did have someone help me do a clearing on the house.
Okay. Did your daughter know that you were doing this for her?
No.
I'm pretty sure I told you that right around that age is where you're very limited at what you can and can't do for someone else.
Is that because they're becoming an adult?
Yeah, they're right on the verge of adulthood.
Yeah.
So you cleared out a significant amount of it, but it isn't over. It isn't
Yeah.
over by the long shot. What has changed since you've done that?
I don't know. I was trying to gauge it, and I'm not really sure. We went away for a couple of weeks
Uh-huh.
camping, so she was sleeping fine when we were camping, and she hasn't slept too badly since we've been back. But I feel as though I can't really get her to say the revocations herself because she would be terrified. She's already terrified of ghosts and
Well,
witches and
tell her these will assist her at stopping the ghost from doing anything.
yeah, okay.
I
I just
mean,
didn't know if it was
at some point you've gotta give her some tools that she can use on her own. Why don't you try to see if you can get her to look at the shaman's death, the heart meditation, or the union and communion consciousness strike?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I can do that. And would the disentanglement winds be helpful?
After she gets interested, yes. You
Okay.
want to give her the tool that she can explore on her own and use on her own when you're not around. That's ultimately the goal. She's going to be able to practice it. Doing it with her, it helps, Like if you could do a page, she does a page, you do a page, she does a page once a week, twice a week. And it will help her and she will begin to notice things, but it's ultimately how much longer is it going to be before she does have to do it on her own. She has
Mm-hmm.
reached that age that responsibility is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. Yep. Okay, I'll do that, and I'll do some more saging as well.
Yeah, more that will also help, as well as encouraging her to take regular, powerful salt baths.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So 3 times a week, say go and take a salt bath, and put like 4 or 5 cups of Epsom salt in there, not 1, 2.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
And then
Yep.
how's her diet? How's her diet been?
Not that good. she likes a cake or two, and
That's fine. Encourage
I
her to consume fruit.
mm-hmm.
Sugar is one thing, but there's something about her and fruit right now, and she really needs a good amount of fruit. And
Okay. Right.
does she ever drink any alcohol? Like even if it's a sip at Christmas or something?
No.
I know she's 13. So
Definitely not from me.
hey, I was young and we were Greek Orthodox and everyone had wine at the table, and I had a sip or two here or there when I was young, but I never wanted it.
Yeah.
If you haven't done that already, allow her to have a sip of your wine or not be afraid of it. It's important that she gets used to it early so it doesn't have a massive exposure to alcohol later.
Oh, okay. Because we don't drink much.
Right. And if you don't drink much, she will pick that up. And that's okay to let her have some, even a half of something. It's okay. All right? Don't be a prude here. I'm serious. This is going to help this girl so much growing, help her so much.
I will do it. I'll do anything for her.
Yeah. Maybe, tomorrow crack a beer and say you want some. Here, pour some in a cup for her. Give her a half a cup. Serious.
Okay.
Knowing that she'll get a little buzz off of it.
Oh, no. That I was not expecting.
This is going to help her not be an alcoholic later in her life. Exposing her early to it so she can make her own determination about what it is and not be pressured into it.
Okay. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's brilliant, Andrew.
You're welcome. There's a little bit more. So, what else did I tell you when I told you she was going through haunting? Well, there was some other words I must have told you.
Okay. Let's see. You said put crystals, program some crystals, and put them around the 4 corners of the house and the bedrooms.
Yep.
Which I did. You said to sage the house while saying the revocations.
And I told you to fill it up with smoke, didn't I?
Yeah, I did my best with that. I did it for about an hour. I wouldn't say it was, chock. I mean, I was breathing it in. It was definitely pretty thick.
You need to get it thicker.
You
need to get the worry ward out of your mind. Unplug the fire alarms.
Yeah.
Take the batteries out, and you got to get it a lot thicker. And for anyone else that's out there listening, I am tailoring this to her for the energy that she's dealing with her child and her environment and ancestral energies. When I tell someone to up the volume of smoke, it's because there's a lot of energy that's in the unseen world that needs to be transmuted, and it is just the giving of the smoke from her end that is all the action is needed, and the rest is taken by the unseen world. So for all of yous out there that want to try that, when I mean dense, it's got to be dense enough that if your hand's in front of you, it's definitely a little bit blocked. Like seeing across the room is significantly dense. If you have high ceilings, you'll need 4 or 5 sage wands going. maybe even 6 for a super high ceiling and a big ass house. But it is worth it to do it once or twice a year where you get it so intensely smoky, it amplifies your words that you are imprinting into the environment 1,000-fold. If you are a person that walks back and forth on your cell phone, having same conversation over and over in an area, you're creating an energetic pollution zone. And it is that super, super thick smoke combined with your out loud system that begins to shave away that energy that's always there, like all of the kitchen tables where people are sitting all the time, or that couch that you're always on, or the computer that you're always at. Your energy's in that chair always. And by increasing the volume of smoke immensely, you have better opportunities going deep, deep cleansing of the environment. And then you open up one door to let all of the smoke out of one area. And if you have to grab a fan on the far side of the house to encourage the smoke to go out, it's okay. Watch the smoke coming out. It should be clean. It should be clean. That's when you know it's done. There are times that you go to use white sage and it comes out yellow and brown. That is stagnant, stale, and possibly super putrid negative energy coming out that has been alchemized just by giving it that much smoke. That is really what your home needs, a heavy smoking. And that means if
Yeah,
yeah.
I did the ancestral soup as well and poured that around
Yeah.
the outside of the house. So I'll definitely try and get it thicker.
Yeah. Even
More
if you
smoke.
got to go and get 5 or 6 sage wands, have one in
Yep.
each room going so that you really put a tremendous amount of smoke on really fast. Sometimes what I'd like to do is I get the wands going and I grab a little fan and I stick it in front of the fan so it greatly increases the smoke content very fast.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? Be inventive and ingenious. The more smoke you can get in, the better.
Cool.
All right,
Brilliant.
caller, we've got to move on to the next person. Thank you so much for calling in again.
Thank you so much. Lots of love, Andrew.
You too.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, next caller is Nastasia Pulios from Sydney.
Natasha from Sydney, are you there?
Yes, I am, Andrew. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellently. Thank you very much. I'm so excited that you took my call.
All right. How did you find out about me?
I'm not sure initially through a friend, I think, but my husband actually spoke to you earlier in the year.
Ah, okay. So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I do have my little one who just woke up not too long ago. So if time permits, I'd just love to really get a little bit more of an idea about, I guess, where I'm heading and how I can step up in my sovereignty and, I guess, start doing the role that I'm here to do. I can see it in some sort of form, but it hasn't really taken shape. And because I have the little baby, yeah.
How old is the baby?
She's 8 months, actually.
8 months.
Yeah.
My producer here, Robert, his baby is just over 3 months now. Amarisa. So you got 5 months on him. He still hasn't had, the 8 months sleep yet.
Yeah. Some nights I don't either.
So let me look here. So what year were you born?
1985.
All right, so you've got a whole bunch of stuff in your potentiality field here.
Okay.
Is it fair to say at a young age you thought you knew what you were going to do and something changed?
I have always felt that I'm here to help others, and I've always felt very, very grounded in love and being love. But I did go through some difficult times in my teenage years.
What changed? Did you have like a punk rock era, or?
No, I think that I don't think anything changed in me too dramatically, but I got very, very disconnected from who I was. I feel when I went through a lot of trauma, PTSD, emotional
From-
stuff, depression, anxiety.
From what? What created that?
Oh, it was kind of an accumulation of life events, parents divorcing and people passing away and HSC years and possibly other stuff going on.
Any drugs during the time?
No, nothing like that.
I don't know. I see like this clear moment where something happened to you. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
So what year was that your parents got divorced?
I think it was 2002 or 3. I just know I was in my HSC year, so I was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And look, I've done a lot of personal work on myself and personal development, and we've recently moved with my family and I all the way from Sydney up in the Byron Shire and looking to move in the hinterland just to kind of follow our heart and our spirit's calling.
To do what?
Just to be in an environment which facilitates, I guess, being able to hear that inner spirit and not being clouded by the density of the energy in Sydney and all the old paradigms that kind of come with that.
So I understand wanting to live out in the country. I live out in the country.
Yeah.
There's also a fine line between living out in the country and living it out in a community that tries to support other spiritual ideologies.
Yeah.
And you said you're in Byron Bay as I hear the baby singing.
Yeah. Would I be able to grab her for a sec?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks.
What's she saying, Robert?
I can't tell.
Robert's been doing this, identify the baby's messages.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I just can't believe that you actually answered my call just as she was waking up. But yeah, so I guess we moved up here just because we were called to do so, and we felt that call. So yeah, it's been very challenging, and we've just moved into a rental, and which is not working out so well either. So
Because Byron Bay is not the place for you.
okay.
I get so much good and so much bad from that particular city. And I'm not knocking the city. It's just, it's a nexus point for people who want to do stuff and people who pretend to do stuff.
Yeah. So we are looking at a property that is pretty much purchased.
How you doing?
Hi. That's Aurelia, my little daughter. She's a little cherub.
Aww.
That we pretty much purchased in inland of Nimbin, so kind of an hour inland of Byron, I would say.
I'm just not that in that area for you.
Okay.
Be willing to look further. You've got the rental for now, but willing to look further. If you're gonna go country, go country. Don't go Byron Bay.
Yeah, so we've pretty much bought this place in Lillian Rock, which is an hour inland. What are you feeling of that?
Feel it out. You could always sell it again. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Always
right,
make your
okay.
money back on it. There's enough people from Byron Bay that want to do the same thing as you. Get out of that city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go enjoy
And
it.
look, I guess for me the main reason of calling in is because I fully just honor and respect the work that you do, and there's a lot of information going on out there, but it's really great to hear from a neutral perspective. And I really have been just trying to get a little bit of clarity on my direction career-wise. I'm obviously a mother. I've got a beautiful 3.5 going on 4-year-old son who's been my little master, who's been a huge mirror to reflect me exactly where I'm at. And my beautiful Aurelia, completely different energy come through with her.
Okay. What education do you have?
In the past, I was working as a psychologist before I stopped to have the kids. Then I went back to it and I kind of stopped again.
So you had
And
your own practice, or did you work for a big firm?
no, I was working in private practice in the end after doing some government work.
Did you like private practice?
I liked it and I didn't. I enjoyed working in private practice because I had the one-on-one work with clients, which I did enjoy, but I think I fell out of love with psychology. I found that it was a bit limiting in things.
Yeah. And you can use that degree and take in all this other natural livingness stuff, as well as specialize in hypnosis and hypnotherapy and do past life regressions and make a fortune at it. I want you to know that. A fortune.
Okay.
Many psychologists who actually truly awaken and get out of the science and do the guided meditation as hypnosis can be incredibly powerful healers and past life regressors. Incredibly
okay.
clearing out the most ancient of traumas from thousands of births simultaneously. Okay?
Right.
But you got to be willing to take that up as a different form of psychological healing journey.
Yeah, look, I'm totally open to, whatever's out there and whatever I'm meant to be doing. And I know it's some form of healing modality anyway. And I was kind of going in terms of the direction of being a coach and doing like women's circles and retreats and things like that.
It all depends on the clientele that you create from the community that you're going to impact. So now you find yourself on the outside of the cities, but next to a city that's half pretenders, half doers.
Yeah.
Trying to start a psychological business that uses spirit when half the people there are judgy as hell and the other half the people don't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Okay? So you find yourself in the wrong area to be doing that, in my opinion. Now, opinions are like
even if it was a online, like a Skype thing or...
Yes, but how do you get your name out there? That's the key. This is where you have to be willing to market yourself, use your existing degrees that you already have, and whether it's an email correspondence thing that talks about psychological tips for parents or kids that parents that have kids that are autistic or super smart or genius or spiritual kids, tools and tips how to raise them. And then until you gather enough people through a Facebook or your own email list, until such a time you want to promote yourself as someone that's giving regular advice and a way for them to get regular advice from you, be it a blog, a show, an email, that comes once a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then women's retreats, you're talking after you've built up presence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Books, again, after you've built up a presence. Yes. Can you do it? Absolutely. Can you do it with a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old or a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old? What's your husband's support in it?
Well, you spoke to my husband, Terry. He's very, very supportive. He's trying to, I guess, find his own way as well.
So what's he doing as a job?
He's doing electronic security at the moment.
I remember him now. I remember talking to him.
Yeah, he had a very different chat with you than what he expected, I think.
Yes.
So it was definitely what he needed to hear, but no, he was hoping to probably hear a bit more about on a soul level where he's come from and those types of things. So
no, he heard exactly what he needed to hear for his change to go through. All that other stuff is just fluffer stuff.
Yeah, we trust that.
Yeah. And on your level right now, it's straight up 3D business savvy for you. Because you can go and learn a healing modality like craniosacral therapy in 6 months, be rated level 1 with working on some of the myofascial skills. You can go do an 8-month extended class on hypnosis and regression therapy and with your psychological background, already be ready to go and take on clients.
Mm-hmm.
You could specialize in doing it for children.
Okay.
Okay? There's all sorts of things. Hey, how you doing, Aurelia?
She's good.
Yeah, let me read her real quick.
Okay.
Okay, who were you before you were born 8 months ago?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
born on Valentine's Day, actually, this year.
All right. I'm just reading who she was in the astral world real quick.
Yeah.
So her last lifetime before she is her, she was a man living in the northern Arctic. So like on like really North Arctic, I would almost say an Inuit Indian on the highest North Arctic.
That's funny because she looks like she's got some sort of Indian with her beautiful Oriental looking eyes, and we always make jokes that, am I sure Terry's the dad? Because he looks like some sort of an Indian American or something.
That's interesting. So
Yeah.
going from cold to hot was a huge change.
Yeah.
He passed on in a some kind of cold weather accident where their furnace or their fuel system didn't work, and he passed on at like a 19-year-old kid.
Right.
And as soon as he went into the astral world and had a life review, he was back within 6 months of passing from his last life. And this is Aurelia.
Wow.
Now, before this young gentleman, he's got a long sordid affair of she has a long sort of affair with criminality.
Right.
Almost like the Soprano crime family kind of energy behind him.
Wow.
Lots of gambling and card playing. Lots of drinking and smoking of cigars.
Right. Wow, wouldn't have guessed that from the energy that I feel from this little one. She's so zen, so grounded.
Yes, but that's because she just finished those gluttonous lifetimes.
Okay.
Because part of people experiencing that is this get even with the system energy. And her life review was very much get even with the system. For as much bad as you may have done, you still did good for the rest of the people.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, she agrees. Yes, little criminal. Look at you, little mafia girl.
And, okay, all right. So just to recap on the career stuff, you're feeling into that I should keep my degree as a psychologist going.
Yep.
And to expand on that with some form of doing hypnotherapy or life regression or something like that.
All of that combined, hypnotherapy and life regression, past life regression as one modality. And you can use it to heal a variety of other psychological issues. You can take referrals from other psychologists with hard patients that have gone through heavy duty traumas that they don't know where they came from, as well as adjusting your past life regression to not necessarily deal with past life, but to deal with traumas from this lifetime, where you can regress a person in a comfortable state so they can go back to heavy duty abuse areas and release the trauma so they can go through full somatic releases, tear-based release.
Right, okay, fantastic.
And this is
so not hands-on healing stuff.
No, you can do hands-on healing. Oftentimes when people are having advanced cranial sacral with myofascial, they'll have somatic releases where full-on emotions and repressed memories from other eras come through. I've had it happen to myself dozens of times. That also happens during past life regressions. And learning about it and learning hands-on processes to help people deal with that is beneficial also for you. Very beneficial. That's right up your alley.
how do you say it? The microfascial, how did you say it?
Myofascial release.
And sacrocranial.
Cranial sacral with myofascial release, correct.
Okay, that's interesting because that's what you told my husband he should get is a cranial sacral, whatever.
Yeah, because he needed pressure taken off his cranium because his head, all of the muscles on the back of his head are 10 times too tight than they should be.
Yeah, and the lymphatic drainage is as well what you mentioned.
He needs that major.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so that rather than doing any sort of quantum healing, that's what you would recommend for me.
Because I know how fast you would excel at it.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It's the Porsche engine, and you can go and learn all these other techniques, but each one's a different car.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the keys to the Porsche: the past life regression and hypnotherapies. Here's the keys to the Porsche.
Thanks, I'd love one.
And if you want the Lexus SUV, you can still have the keys to that too, but that's a different modality.
Okay. What would that modality be?
A shamanic soul retrieval style.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Or soul shard retrieval process. That is very ceremonial, very ritual, and done over a longer period of time instead of, put your hands in the sky and call the lightning down and put them back into the body.
Right. And what would I have to do to learn that modality?
Or
is it not really in alignment?
There are people that teach it, but I'm not going to recommend anyone because you still got a lot to go through before you go to that. Go drive the Porsche for a couple thousand miles, and I guarantee you a teacher will appear by your 1,500th mile, the one that you know you should work with.
Okay. All right. No problem. Yeah. And just quickly, I would be so upset if I didn't ask about my son. I have ongoing from birth difficulties with him, only in the sense that he's very, I think he's very connected and he has a lot of stuff going on at night when he sleeps in the astral, and he never wants to go to sleep, and he tells me he sees monsters and things like that, and I want to know how I can best serve my children and how I can protect him as well.
What year was he born?
2013, 22nd of November.
So is it fair to say that when he was born, that there was a longer birth process there?
Than Aurelia, not really longer, but he ended up being an emergency cesarean delivery.
There you go. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
So this is where his issues began. And this is where your issues began with him. And this is where you should have an actual past life regression of this lifetime, so you can so you can reveal the hidden traumas from the C-section. Not all C-sections create heavy-duty traumas, but in his case, it created a complete breakage in the original plan. He wanted to have a natural womb birth instead of a C-section birth.
Yeah, okay.
So it totally changed the way his I am comes into the body. Totally changed. So his whole operating system is every morning he wakes up, it starts too early. It's like, having the remote to turn your car on in an hour before you get up to go.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's snowing outside and you turn it on 15 minutes before you go out, but turning it on an hour before you go out?
Yeah, yeah.
His car is ready to go an hour before he goes out every day. So getting him to actually not be afraid of waking up. It's not his falling asleep is fine. It's his waking up. That is where he experiences the most amount of things that make him question the two realities and go into fear. Or just before, during the night, he'll wake up during his dream, and that's where he'll get caught.
Caught with what?
Caught with whatever's going on in the dream and him not sure if he's a dreamer or awake.
Right. Okay.
He's
And
at that
how do I?
age, he can't know the difference like we do as an adults.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
gonna say it's time for you to decorate his room with glow in the dark night stuff,
okay.
and have him imprint onto each piece so he knows where they are, what they are. They have these stickers you can put up that are light reactive. The longer the light's on, the longer they glow. The lesser the light's on, the lesser they glow.
Yeah, I've bought them for him, and I've never put them up because I've never been in a place that's home, if you know what I mean. I've been
Yes.
waiting till we buy our house to actually do that in his room.
You got to do it right away.
Okay.
And then there are other things you can do in the room energy wise. What I tell people is for themselves to do the four corners of their bedroom. So he's in his own little crib in his own room now, or is he in the crib next to your bed?
He is almost 4, so he's got his bed in his room.
Okay. And how long
Yeah.
has he been in his bed in his room?
Well, we just recently moved, but he had his own room beforehand when we were in Sydney as well. Yeah, he was in his own room.
So what I want you to do is in his room, I want you to put protective objects in the four corners of his room and the four corners of his crib. So what you can do is grab any of the contract revocations that are from the website and read those into the crystals, with also the intention that you're activating his guides and guardians to be present as sentinels and watchers, so his dreams place is clear, so that the four corners of his crib and the four corners of his bedroom have objects of emanation of your presence.
Of his presence.
Your presence, because you're the one
my
reading. You're the one reading. Yeah. Hello.
And so all right, so any particular crystals?
It doesn't matter, honestly. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Anything that occupies the space. And because he's at that 4.5 year era, you're gonna have to realize kids can be energetically dirty but not negative. They just cycle through so much energy, stuff builds up that's not beneficial to the area. And those crystals that you have in his room, you're going to have to regularly clean and wash. Just as if you would get in there and vacuum the floors every week, you've got to make sure you pick all of them up, clean them with moving warm water, let them rest in the sun for a few hours, and then re-imprint them with the prayers again and put them back into place.
Okay.
And it's fair to say he's going to be all over the house at this age. Why don't you just set 1 or 2 crystals in every other room and do the same thing and allow them to absorb energy? And just as if you would vacuum the floors every week, that you pick those up and put them wash them heavily and put them into the sunlight and then put them back as a grid all over your house.
Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking about crystal gridding my house for a long time, but I wasn't sure which crystals and what to kind of what
Honestly,
intention.
it doesn't matter about the type of crystal. It's the intention and how you map it physically and in your mind. So if you're sitting in your living room and your husband's sitting next to you and your kid's in the other room, you can have a mind map of how close he is to that crystal. And then emanate energy to it to help your son, observe your son, feel the energies that are in that environment, send energies to that particular environment, like a baby monitor, except it's your own psychic grid you've created.
Okay. And so there's no kind of other. I got told that there was some sort of interference that had injected itself into my life, kind of leading to the turmoil and the chaos that we experience so often. I'm just wondering if that has anything to do with what's playing out at the moment with, what's going on, or if it's something that's been cleared or what the go is there as well.
Well, what was the chaos?
Oh, well, is ongoing constantly, never really settled. Like my husband's car breaking down for the second time and no work, and we move from Sydney to here, and the rental has mold, which we're going to have to potentially move from, and yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a bunch of really tough, fast-made choices that didn't add up the way you wanted.
Not sure about the car.
No,
Yeah.
the car twice in a year breaking down has its own issues with it. It's relative of overworking.
Right, okay.
Okay. And not you can't tell if the car's going to break down or not unless you're a mechanic. Okay. But therefore, it's reflective of what you were going through, which is having to make rush decisions. Fix the car or have no work. Or have no work, never fix the car.
Yeah. So that's my husband's car that's brand new, that's for some reason had 2 recalled engines. So you're saying that that's just a manifestation of where he's at in terms of needing to not work so hard.
Yep, as well as things that were giving him opportunities to observe himself in his own particular place in life growth.
Okay. And so with the house that we're in now, should we just move to another rental, or with the whole mold situation?
Are you sure it's mold?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And this is the place you just bought?
No, just a rental. The place we bought is an hour inland in the mountains, and it feels energetically very different. It's
Then
really
why
peaceful.
don't you just move there?
Oh, we'd love to. Our contract doesn't start until January, so we've got like 3 months of overlap.
3 months before you can get out, and the one you're in has mold right now. I understand.
Yeah, we're not sleeping in the main bedroom. The kitchen smells. It's just really unpleasant.
And the people that rented it to you aren't going to give you your money back?
I haven't asked yet.
I mean, you've got if you know it's mold, you've got to have some type of renter's recourse here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering whether or not I should just wait it out and just...
No.
Yeah.
Go find someplace else to live on a shorter period of time. And they've got to pay. They've got to start paying. You can't live in that house like that.
Yeah.
Their homeowners insurance, if they even have it, should cover that. Because if the mold came up that fast, I bet you it was there long before you came in.
Yeah, most likely. We just never looked under the house.
Right.
Yeah, but that's another lesson for me to feel into my decisions before I make them. So, yeah. Okay. So I guess a lot of my questions have, you've addressed them, and fully appreciate all the assistance and guidance you've given me, because I've been wanting to speak to you for quite a long time now, actually. So I guess in terms of my being here, my purpose being here to assist others, the healing modality is kind of going to assist me with that.
It's what's going to engage the super genius you to begin super study at a heavily happy, joyous rate.
Okay.
Without the joy behind it, your genius won't engage.
Yeah, okay.
Therefore, it's got to be passionate about the material. You've got to be passionate about it, want to learn it. Learning to control the passion and temper the fear into knowingness and learning.
Okay. And to get there to, continue on this journey of personal development and accelerate, because things, there's extrasensory perceptions and things, and I know I manifest quite a lot and I feel a lot. I guess that's just in terms of keeping up with prayer and living sacredly and making sure that I do that on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay.
And when you learn the right wording, You can create your own guided hypnosis process for people that have a variety of abuse-based traumas or those that are in depression-based traumas to get them off the medicines so they can fully engage their own placebo belief about happiness. You
Okay.
can make positive happiness programs in depressed people, and they just don't allow creativity and psychology and psychological techniques for it to happen. But through hypnosis, you can do it and make it very effective and feel like the person is doing it for themselves.
Okay. Okay. Now I wanted to ask another really quick question.
Darling, I gotta let you go. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for listening. We're going to be back this coming Thursday for Living the Mystical Life Daily Webcast. We are going to be continuing our webcasts for those of you who want to continue to learn about the course. So join us this coming Thursday for Living the Mystical Life Daily Webcast. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'll see you later. Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the Mystical Life Daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You could make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.